Hi there little berries, this is Eryberrie here. I did a video about a week or two ago where I talked about series 3 and 4 of Sherlock and what I thought of it, and I had somebody in particular leave quite a long comment both on the video and on Reddit. They wanted me to talk about what I thought of the Abominable Bride and Moriarty being present but yet not present in series 4. They also felt I had been quite generous about the series because really it was just a complete mess. I didn't want to speak as if I'm just being a hater. I wanted to make it constructive. So, what did I think of the Abominable Bride? Abominable Bride? I didn't really. I know how much Sherlock was Steve and Mark's passion project, their little pet project that they'd always wanted to do. And they'd wanted to make it modern, but then they did the complete opposite, which was a bit strange. But you know, that's what they wanted to do. They were passionate about it, and yeah, in some ways, why not? That's what we do as fan fiction writers, isn't it? And their version of Sherlock essentially is fan fiction. However, there's one thing saying, "Oh, I'd really love to do that," and actually going and doing it and trying to make it commercial and for an audience, because you do risk people saying you just clutching at straws and you're just trying to make it interesting for the sake of making it interesting, doing a Victorian Sherlock Holmes just for the sake of doing a Victorian Sherlock Holmes. It was just not necessary. It really wasn't. It didn't tell you anything about Moriarty. It didn't tell you anything about the story. To be honest, I don't think we learnt anything. You know, you're just saying that somebody, if anything, it kind of implied that Moriarty could have faked his own death. In some ways, I think it would have been quite good, but then we had Sherlock faking his death, and then to have Moriarty faking his death. I think it was good that Moriarty did actually die and Sherlock got one over on him, and I think after Reichenbach, Moriarty really shouldn't have made a reappearance. He shouldn't have been shown as being involved after that point, even though everything was planned before he died. He knew he was going to die. He knew that Sherlock was going to fake his death, yet he still went along with it because of Euros, apparently. I find that very hard to buy. I think they could have just left Moriarty alone. The Abominable Bride didn't need to happen. We didn't need it. When you do a TV show, even if the writers and producers and directors and everybody who's in it thinks it's a real fun project and it's something they really want to do, stop and think, guys, because this is going out to the public. If the public hate it, how are you going to feel? Just because you love it doesn't mean that they'll like it. And just because it's something that you've always wanted to do doesn't mean that that's something that they've always wanted to see. You also have to make a point. What is the point of it? What does it result in? Otherwise it's anticlimactic. You don't get that rush of serotonin, I think it is. You don't get that feeling of, yeah, that was leading somewhere and it's got there and it's met my expectations. No. And again, Euros, I think she somebody else agreed with me as well in one of their comments. They said that she was bordering on or she did seem to be paranormal or psychic. She seemed to be not of this world. I doubt very much intelligence to that extent can be absolutely achieved. Even if you're that intelligent doesn't mean you're going to know all the facts about the world, because if you're not exposed to facts, if you're not told things, and if you don't find things out, you're not going to know them, no matter how intelligent you are. You don't have a natural antenna that taps into the internet. You have to go out and find these things. So basically my feelings on the Abominable Bride, it was unnecessary. In itself, it was executed very well, but it was unnecessary. And Moriarty just had to go. He's the best villain of the original stories. He's the best villain of the series, but they had to move on. Comes on to now a point that I actually made in one of my fan fiction chapters. In one of my footnotes, I said something that I did actually email to Hartswood Films, and surprise, surprise, I didn't get a reply. They even say on their website they don't even reply to people pitching ideas to them. So, and you know, I don't blame them. They'll probably get loads. And in this email, I detailed to them the inconsistencies between the show and the blog that you can read online. I'm going to share with some of you some of those things that I thought of and that they needed, and they still need, a bit of an explanation. There are discrepancies between the dates of series 2 and John's blog, so I'm going to detail what I found back then. Sherlock acquires Irene's phone at Christmas. Irene says that Sherlock had it in his possession for 6 months before Irene turns up at 221B. Sherlock then says he took a safety deposit box on the bank on the Strand a few months ago, which of course ties in with Irene saying it's been 6 months. John's blog says it was New Year's Day that Sherlock got him to check the flight details, so therefore Irene gave Sherlock the phone at Christmas, and then she turns up on New Year's Day. Where's the 6 months? I don't understand that at all. It's also not known how long it was before Sorry About Dinner and the beheading, because it was more than 2 months afterwards, because of the John and Mycroft having a discussion in Speedy's cafe and then going upstairs when John talks to Sherlock. It said it's 2 months later. According to John's blog, that happened on the 12th of March. If you go by the information on the blog about Irene turning up on New Year's Day, March seems quite plausible. But when you take the 6 months into consideration that passed between Christmas and when Irene arrived at 221B, you think therefore 8 months has gone by. Therefore it's kind of unknown when Hounds occurred. That could have been at any point really. In John's blog, however, it happened very shortly after the ordeal with Irene. This is when Mycroft let Moriarty go, as he'd arranged to meet Moriarty. Mycroft, of course, interrogated him for weeks, which would explain the difference in the blog dates. But Hounds may have happened within that 2-month period or interim or shortly after. It's never really explained exactly when that happened, and the blog doesn't make sense. In Hounds, Sherlock doesn't wear his scarf, even though he says at one point he's cold, but he's clearly not. He doesn't wear a scarf, so that says to me that actually takes place in summer. And of course it's bright and sunny. 3 months happen in Reichenbach, 6 weeks between the date that Moriarty broke into the Tower of London, 2 months later that the fall occurred. Hounds could have happened in that particular period, you never know. Also, Sherlock said it was the end of term for the children, and again, John's blog doesn't marry up with that, because end of term in the summer for our kids is actually towards the end of July. It's not in the middle of June where it is on the blog. Having said that, I don't know whether that particular school maybe had different kind of term times. You know, it's a private school. Most comprehensive schools break up at the end of July. I think maybe some private schools have longer holiday periods, but I can't be 100% sure. But it's still, to me, it's something that is worth questioning. When I also bought the casebook, which was something that they brought out as a bit of a merchandise novelty, I saw more inconsistencies and errors and discrepancies. I'm not going to list them here. I'm not going to show you because copyright and everything. I don't want to show you the book and go, look at that, that's wrong. But I'm going to say just look for yourself and look for the continuity errors. There's always going to be continuity errors in every single TV show, because nothing is ever going to be perfect, even if you hire the most proficient continuity expert. However, there are some things that you just think that needs an explanation, or that's kind of unforgivable. That's basically the last thing I'm going to say about Sherlock, unless it returns. And to be honest, I doubt very much that it will, and if it does, it probably will be for a one-off. And I doubt very much the writers will take advice from their fans. Just say to them, strip it right back, bring it back to the original stuff as much as possible, bring it back to how it was in series 1 and 2, and we'll be fine. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think of Abominable Bride. Here we go, Abominable Bride. And also let me know what you think of Moriarty coming back, whether it was worth it or not. Thank you very much. Bye!